Absolutely going to testify. I won't even say his name. He is an evil being and is going to pay.
Now,
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Hey, where are we at?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second.
The Diddy trial just took a dark turn, and Justin Bieber might be the final nail in the coffin. You're not seeing it splashed across every news channel like the OJ trial. But make no mistake, what's unfolding behind closed courtroom doors is absolutely explosive. While mainstream media stays eerily silent and cameras are banned from the courtroom, insiders say it's anything but quiet inside. From sealed testimonies to off-the-record witness appearances, the truth is being buried. And now we might finally know why. All thanks to Justin Bieber, who just shattered his silence in the most shocking way imaginable. According to close sources, Justin has handed over leaked footage from his time around Diddy. And it's not gossip, it's actual video evidence now in the hands of investigators. And Diddy? He's reportedly losing it behind the scenes, calling in lawyers, making frantic calls, doing damage control on all fronts. Legal insiders are calling the footage damning, painting a deeply disturbing picture of what was happening at Diddy's infamous parties and so-called mentorship retreats. And if this video survives legal scrutiny, it could trigger a tidal wave of lawsuits, even new criminal charges. For years, Justin Bieber stayed quiet, despite growing up in the chaos of Diddy's world. But that silence is officially broken, and the timing couldn't be worse for the bad boy mogul. People on the inside are calling this a turning point, one that could spell the beginning of the end for Diddy's empire. And if that video implicates others in Diddy's inner circle, the fallout could be nuclear. Let's rewind. It all got real in March 2024 when federal agents raided both of Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami, and they didn't walk out empty-handed. Homeland Security seized hard drives, phones, encrypted data, and entire boxes of electronics. The internet exploded with one question. What were they looking for? And better yet, who else could be involved? Because this is bigger than just one man. For years, people whispered about the freaky parties, the high-security guest lists, the celebrities who came and went at all hours. But now those whispers have turned into federal investigations. And smack in the middle of the storm? Justin Bieber. Bieber, once the teenage golden boy under Diddy's wing, is now emerging as a key player in a case that's growing. Darker by the day, his leaked footage could blow open the carefully built walls of secrecy around Diddy's empire. If what's in those clips is what people fear, this could be game over.
Today, starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
Tell you my number.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber just shook Diddy's trial, and the fallout could be massive. Let's get one thing straight. Justin Bieber hasn't been named a victim. Not officially, but that hasn't stopped the internet, or insiders in the industry, from asking the hard questions. Why does his name keep coming up? What did he see? What does he know? Because back then, Justin was there. He had close ties to Diddy, spent time at the mansions, attended the parties. He was a fixture in that world, and now he's finally starting to talk. Day 2 of the trial. The courtroom was already tense, packed with legal experts, reporters, and onlookers straining to catch every word. But then, Justin Bieber's name was mentioned. And according to insiders in the room, the entire energy shifted. Diddy froze. His usual calm, calculated demeanor? Gone. His jaw tightened, his hands clenched, and for the first time, it looked like the walls were closing in, because Justin didn't just get mentioned. He had reportedly shared new information, something that backed Cassie's side of the story. And if it's proven credible, legal experts say it could open up another lawsuit and possibly trigger even more serious consequences. Security had to step in. There were whispers between Diddy's legal team. Even the judge took a beat. The courtroom sucked into total silence as people tried to process what had just happened. Some said the tension in the room was so thick it felt like it had weight. Diddy wasn't just shaken, he was rattled, because this wasn't just anyone stepping into the fire. This was Justin Bieber, one of the most recognized stars on the planet, injecting himself into one of the most explosive, high-profile legal cases in entertainment history. And now, Diddy isn't just fighting for his reputation, he's fighting for his freedom. This was bound to come out. Eventually, Justin burst onto the scene as a teen with a voice that took over the internet. Now, at 31, he's a global icon with a complicated past and a trail of powerful mentors. One of the earliest was Usher, the R&B legend who helped shape Justin's sound. But another name in that same circle? Sean Diddy Combs. Back then, Diddy was all flash. Private jets, flashy watches, parties with the biggest stars. But beneath the glamour, there were always whispers. Whispers about exclusive parties, blurred lines, and young artists being pulled into something they didn't fully understand. Bieber was one of them. Photos of him and Diddy through the years resurfaced. Old footage, including that infamous video where a 15-year-old Justin was told by Diddy that they were going to hang out for a few days, has gone viral again. It was creepy back then. It's haunting now, because in the past year, Diddy's image has flipped. Gone are the lighthearted interviews and flashy Instagram posts. In their place, multiple lawsuits, graphic accusations, words like coercion, assault, and trafficking, and now, a federal investigation. So where does Justin fit in? For a while, people speculated, was Justin just another young star caught up in Diddy's whirlwind lifestyle? Or was there more to it? Did he see something? Did he experience something? And now, as the first week of the trial wraps, we finally hear from Justin's team. In a statement to TMZ, reps for Bieber made one thing clear. Justin was not harmed by Diddy. But the next line was the one that really set the internet on fire. There are people who were. One sentence, but it says everything. Justin may not be naming names. He's not laying out every detail. But by speaking at all, right now, in the most critical moment of Diddy's legal unraveling, he's making it clear. He knows more than he's saying. And the timing? Definitely not a coincidence. This wasn't a random PR move. This was calculated. Because right now, the biggest mystery isn't just what Diddy did, it's who else was there, who else participated, who knew what, the freak-offs, and the guest list that haunts the industry. Let's not sugarcoat it. Diddy's parties weren't your typical Hollywood get-togethers. Behind closed doors, insiders called them freak-offs, days-long events where only select, pre-approved guests were allowed. No cameras, no outsiders, just insiders and power. And Justin Bieber's name has been whispered in connection to those parties for years. That old clip, the one with Diddy talking about taking young Justin under his wing, it wasn't just playful mentorship. Not in hindsight. Now it feels like a breadcrumb. A piece of a larger puzzle that the world is finally putting together. And this might be just the beginning. If the whispers are true, if Justin's footage and testimony are real, we're only scratching the surface. Because for years, celebrities stayed silent about what happened in those mansions. But now, the silence is breaking. And with Bieber stepping forward, it sends a message to every other star who was ever part of that world. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. And for Diddy, that message might be the most terrifying one of all.
When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
The silence is breaking, and Justin Bieber might be in deeper than we think. For years, Justin Bieber kept quiet, but that doesn't mean he wasn't speaking. He was just doing it subtly, hidden in lyrics, buried in symbolism, woven into music videos that fans are only now starting to understand. One user on X put it best. Justin Bieber has been exposing a lot of darkness for years. In his Yummy video, his face is literally served on a plate. It's a cry for help. That wasn't just abstract art. That was a message. And now, the meaning is starting to click. They connected the dots, Bieber's eerie video motifs, the creepy symbolism of plates and model victims, the disturbing imagery that echoes posts from Geo Forbis, aka Geo4B, an artist tied to some very dark circles. Geo's ties to Rachel Chandler and the Midland Agency, names that have long been whispered in elite conspiracy corners, lead straight to Diddy. And suddenly, Bieber's past looks a lot more complicated than fans ever realized. And now, he's done being subtle. Right after week 1 of Diddy's explosive courtroom drama wrapped, headlines spinning with updates, whispers of new witnesses, and anticipation around singer Don Richard taking the stand, that's when Bieber's team broke their silence. And no, it wasn't random. It was a message, loud and calculated. Because here's the reality. Prosecutors aren't just building a case off old relationships. They want a pattern. And the most powerful pattern? When bystanders, people with no romantic ties to Diddy, begin speaking out. People who saw, people who remember, people like Justin. So when his rep came forward and said, Justin is not one of Diddy's victims, but there are people who were, it sent shockwaves. That single line, vague as it was, changed everything. It gave prosecutors new ammo. It gave the public a whole new level of clarity. And it gave Justin legal protection, because now he can draw the line just far enough to stay out of the courtroom, while still implying he knows way more than he's letting on. Let's call it what it is, damage control. But also, a strategic move. Bieber, like many stars raised in this chaotic industry, wants no part of a courtroom. He's already been through the industry machine, the overexposure, the meltdowns, the recovery. But the fact that he spoke at all, during this exact moment in Diddy's unraveling, means there's more behind the curtain than anyone is saying. And make no mistake, the government is watching very closely. Now here's where it gets. Even messier, Justin finally said something, but let's be real, he didn't say much. And that silence, it's making people talk more. Because if he really had nothing to hide, wouldn't it be easy to say, I never saw anything? I was never exposed to anything inappropriate. Diddy never crossed a line. But that's not what he said. Instead, his rep released a carefully worded statement. Although Justin is not among Diddy's victims, there are individuals who were genuinely harmed. Shifting focus away from that detracts from their fight for justice. Sounds noble, sounds supportive, but it's also painfully vague, and to some it feels like a shield, enough to protect Justin legally. But not enough to clear him completely, which raises the question, what is he afraid of? Some say fear, others say leverage, and in this world, that could mean blackmail, old footage, incriminating texts, even contracts signed in silence. And let's not pretend Justin's been acting like everything's fine. The warning signs have been there. Back in March, Bieber posted a video of himself strumming his guitar. Totally normal, until you read the caption. I hate myself sometimes. It didn't feel like a lyric. It felt like a cry for help. And in the middle of all this Diddy chaos, it hit different. His behavior lately has been off. Fans have noticed. He looks distant, worn down. At events, he seems spaced out, jittery, heavy-eyed. Some started whispering about drug use again. Others said he looked like someone carrying a massive emotional weight. Then came the cryptic Instagram posts, blurry images, foggy captions, almost unreadable, each one more confusing than the last. And then the post that changed everything. It happened during a courtroom break, one of those quick recesses, when everyone checked their phones. Suddenly, the halls were buzzing, people swiping screens, legal aides whispering, even jurors looked stunned. Why? Because Justin Bieber had just posted a vintage photo, him and Cassie at some music event. Years ago, smiling, young, but look closer. And you can see it in Cassie's eyes. Something was off. The caption? Always admired Cassie's strength. I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner. Boom. Just like that, the courtroom drama wasn't just legal anymore. It was emotional, personal, and viral. Justin's 270 million followers caught it instantly. The media ran with it. The timing couldn't have been worse. For Diddy, this was no longer a gossip story. It was a reckoning. Justin's statement, vague as it was, did just enough to distance himself, enough to stand in solidarity, but not enough to burn bridges or reveal what he might still be hiding. And that's the part that has people talking. He didn't slam Diddy. He didn't say, I was there and it was wrong. He said, I'm not a victim, but some people are. And in that gray area, that's where the truth and the fear might live. Because this story, it's not even close to over. Justin Bieber's breaking point and Cassie's courtroom bombshells. The Diddy fallout is far from over. At first, it just seemed like another celebrity unraveling. Cryptic captions, Bible verses about betrayal, lyrics laced with heartbreak. And then came the silence. But nothing Justin Bieber has done lately feels random. And now, people are starting to understand why. Because right as the Diddy allegations surged back into public view, lawsuits, photos, timelines, Justin started spiraling, and suddenly, things began to make sense. Behind the scenes, conversations started circulating, and people close to the situation, they weren't sugarcoating it anymore. They were saying it flat out. Justin isn't just stressed, he's reliving trauma. What if this isn't a meltdown? What if it's a trigger? The timing was too perfect. The lawsuit headlines, the resurfaced rumors, the courtroom, testimonies. Everything coming back, all at once. Because here's the truth. Justin grew up in the belly of the beast. The same industry, the same parties, the same gatekeepers. And some of the people being exposed right now, they were right there with him during his teenage years. For years, Bieber only hinted at darkness behind the curtain. But now those vague memories, they're matching up with real names, real dates, real crimes. That's why fans believe his strange behavior. The cryptic Instagram posts, the blurred selfies, the emotional breakdowns weren't a coincidence. They were a coping mechanism, maybe even a cry for help, because when you've spent your whole life being told to shut up, smile, and keep quiet, at some point, your silence starts to crack from the inside out. And while Bieber was breaking, Cassie was speaking. This week, all eyes were on the courtroom, and all ears were locked on Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex, a woman who spent more than a decade under his control. And now, more than 8 months pregnant, taking the stand to reclaim her story. She didn't just describe a toxic relationship. She described a nightmare. She talked about being isolated, controlled, humiliated. She said the abuse wasn't just physical, it was psychological, and it was systematic. One of the most disturbing revelations, something she called freak-offs. Drug-fueled, orchestrated sex parties, planned and directed by Diddy himself, where Cassie was allegedly forced to sleep with male escorts while he watched. Sometimes for days at a time, often filmed, sometimes in multiple states. If she resisted, there were consequences. I just did whatever would keep him from exploding, she told the court. She even testified that Diddy used urination as a form of control during these encounters, and that his staff would take away her belongings whenever he got angry, like she was being punished. Every detail more horrifying than the last. She said she had to take drugs, not to party, but to survive. Dissociating was the only way I could get through it. Throughout her testimony, Cassie stayed composed, but there were moments where she rubbed her belly, softly, moments where her voice cracked, moments where she cried. She described going to rehab, doing trauma therapy, and yes, at one point, contemplating ending her life, and just when you thought it couldn't get darker. The court was shown the 2016 security footage, the now infamous video of Diddy assaulting her in a hotel hallway. There it was. Undeniable. On tape. The defense fights back, but Cassie holds her ground. Diddy's legal team came in swinging. Their strategy? Discredit her. Paint her as a willing participant. they pulled out old texts, messages where Cassie wrote, "I'm always oi," ready to freak off. I love our freak-offs when we both want it. But Cassie didn't flinch. "Those were survival texts," she said. "Words I used to protect myself, to convince myself, to stay safe." The defense tried to blame drugs. They even claimed Diddy was going through opiate withdrawal during the hallway attack, as if that somehow explained the violence. But none of it could erase what the jury saw, or what Cassie lived through. And then came her final words, a statement heard around the world. When her testimony ended Friday afternoon, she left the courtroom. But not before delivering one last message, through her attorney, Douglas Wigdor. "This week has been extremely challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I remember, the more I will never forget." Mic drop. Cassie didn't just speak. She reclaimed her power, and she made it clear. This isn't just about her. It's about every survivor still trapped in silence, including, perhaps, Justin Bieber. So what do you think? Is Justin holding back out of fear? Will he ever tell the full story? Is the industry finally being exposed from the inside? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this breakdown powerful, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I post updates like this every week as we continue uncovering the secrets of your favorite celebrities. This story, it's just getting started.